This is the answers for quick check number 2 for our first lesson for Unit 1.4. And for this first question, I believe it's question 3 on the quick check, it asks you to identify the peak that is farthest away from the nucleus. We've been talking a lot about the peak that's closest to the nucleus, and that's the one with the highest energy. So our highest energy peak and closest to the nucleus is going to be A. That means that each of these peaks, as they get further and further away from A, those are our peaks farther away from the nucleus. And so in this case, E is going to be farthest away because it has the lowest energy. So that is for question number 3. The second question asks how many electrons are in peak E. So we have to do our figuring out like we did in question 1 and 2. So phosphorus has 15 total electrons. And if we look at our first peak that's closest to the nucleus, like I said, if it's not hydrogen, this first peak always has 2 electrons. And so that means that every peak that's the same size has 2 electrons. Okay. Now, if we take a look at peak C is just about 3 times the height. And so that means that there are 6 electrons. And hopefully at this point you're starting to kind of see a pattern. We've got 2 electrons, then we always have 2 again. Unless your element's not big enough, then we go 6, and then we go 2. And we're going to be talking about this again in our next lesson. But if you look here, peak D has 2 electrons in it. And then peak E here is a little bit taller by about half of the height of D. So that means that I have 3 electrons in there. And if we do our addition, we have 2 and 2 and 2, and that adds up to 6, plus 6 electrons from peak C leaves me with 12 electrons total, and then 3 gives me 15. So peak E has 3 electrons. Okay, hopefully this makes sense. If you have any questions, please get back to us.